Hey, Colorado Springs. This is Jenny Bayless, and I'm here with my guest slash co-host today, Leah Keeling. How's it going, Leah?
Good. Thanks for having me on, Jenny. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm super excited to go over your deal on
I
this.
know.
so,
Exciting.
congratulations on your first property purchase. So that's extremely exciting, and
Yeah,
I can't wait to talk about your plans for this.
I know. I'm so excited. So, yes, let's dig in.
All right. So you bought a new build townhome
hmm
and you wanted to implement the Nomad strategy. So can you tell everyone a little bit about what that means and kind of your plans for when you're ready to make the next move?
Yeah. So, I am implementing the Nomad strategy just because, I have a teenage daughter, we have a dog. I wanted to get in with low money down, on my primary. So I just wanted to utilize that. And then, a year and a half down the line, I'll move out, jump into the next one on the same strategy, and turn this one into a rental. So, I would love to do like a house hack, rent by room sort of thing, but I'm just not there in life. So,
Yeah, I don't blame you. Like I think that like you said, the house hack room by room rental is an absolutely amazing strategy. And I think it's probably one of the best in this current environment, like
Mhm.
if not the best strategy for Colorado Springs at least. But yeah, if your family situation doesn't allow for it, like I think it's best to have the foresight ahead of time before
Right.
things get hairy on that. So yeah, so like the nomad strategy is essentially buying a future rental property,
Yes.
but being able to take advantage of the primary loan requirements. So you were able to put down 3.5%,
Mhm.
and you were able to get a primary loan rate, which is more advantageous than an investor rate.
Yeah.
So you just have to live in there for the 1 year occupancy requirement as required
Mhm.
by your lender, and you can move out and turn it into a rental property. So I think um, this is possibly, all things considered, one of the next best options for people to consider because everyone wants to do the burst strategy because it's low to no money down by the time you're done with it.
Mhm.
But in this environment, I like the nomad strategy because you're already putting down a low amount of money. So you're putting in 3.5% for your
Mhm.
down payment, assuming no major, CapEx or anything like that. Like you're all in for 3.5%. You don't have to worry about what your appraisal is going to be in a year from now, or if you have a bad rehab experience or anything like that.
Mhm.
You're all in for 3.5%. You know what your interest rate is, so you can just move out and turn it into a rental and rinse and repeat every year.
Yeah.
Which, my understanding of Fannie and Freddie is that you can't do. They have a new seasoning requirement of 1 year, so
Mhm.
it's kind of the same,
Yeah.
length of waiting. So this to me just seems a lot less risky than Burr at this point in time. So
Mhm.
that's
And
just
that's how that was my whole mindset on it. And I think for me, just being able to get in at such low money down and kind of since it's a new build, it's like I don't have many worries when it comes to maintenance repairs and all of that. So that just brought me comfort being my first one. And being a townhome, I don't know, I just felt like it would be something that I could easily self manage after. They rent rather quickly.
mhm.
So I felt secure with that. And also just being able to get in low money down, it leaves me more options to, pick up investment properties.
Absolutely.
Right.
I like it. So what did you buy this for? And how much money all in were you by the time you walked away?
So it was about $18,000 all in. But since I represented myself on the transaction, I was able to rebate some of my commission. So that was awesome.
Yeah.
Having that little perk. Um, so yeah, about 18,000 all in. I was super excited about that. I, was kind of all over the place with my strategy. I mean, I knew I was going to nomad something, but I was like, am I going to am I going to house hack a duplex or, like something else? But then this one, I sent it to you.
I was like, you better buy it.
Yeah, no-brainer. I was like, I know. So I just really got to take advantage of, the market at a time where buyers were just not moving at all. And these builders had all these discounts.
Yeah.
And I just was like, I have to take advantage of this. So it kind of just fell into my lap, and I'm super pumped about it. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you brought up a good point that, you weren't as nervous, I guess, as the, the rest of the environment, I guess, related to housing. And just another thing to kind of point out is like, if in a year from now, it's not a good time to make this into a rental for whatever reason, you can just stay there. It's not, you don't have like a super strict timeline.
Exactly.
And now you own this like beautiful new build. So,
Right.
so you bought it for about 305. And what was your interest rate on
It's
this one?
6.75, which
Okay.
probably should have locked in right away. I don't know what interest rates were when I first looked. I can't even remember because they've changed so much. But they were pretty high at that time. I want to say maybe they were almost 7 on a primary. So we were like, we'll wait. I'm sure they're going to come down. We were thinking they'd come down into the 5s. It just didn't happen like we thought.
I literally can't even keep track of what rates are right now. Like someone will ask me, oh, what about, what's guesstimate for rate? I'm like, I have no idea. It changes by the week, like so drastically, like up and down, up and down. It's almost impossible to time it right. So yeah, so you guys just locked in. Yeah, exactly. So 3.5% down, you locked in at 6.75%. Is your strategy on the note, because the rate is not super desirable, of course, if you determine, in a few years from now, after you've moved out, of course, in which case it would, then be an investment loan. Would you consider refinancing out of your FHA loan to free up that, slot, get you out of some PMI, and hopefully buy down some rate if you got the equity behind you on that?
Yes, that's my plan.
Yeah.
I don't even really want to move until that's able to happen. Just because the numbers are not ideal.
Yeah.
The current situation.
Yeah.
But even if nothing changed, I would still be really happy with this, just because, I'm thinking really long term. This is a property that I just plan on holding for as long as possible. So I'm not really too concerned about the numbers at this moment. I'm just more excited about building equity and, just being able to cash out at some point and get something else. So I'm really just looking long term. The as is not pretty, but I'm so excited to have a Colorado Springs property.
Yeah, you got your foot in the door for, would you say, $10,000?
Yeah.
So that's pretty amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah.
So when you move out, you're thinking that you're probably going to rent this long term?
Yes.
And how much are you expecting for rent?
So I know right now they're renting it $1,950. I just put 2,000, hoping a year from now, year and a half, 2,000 is feasible. So
I think that's reasonable. Yeah. And you're going to self-manage it. And you have about 5% maintenance reserves. And I think is that because HOA covers all the exterior CapEx, and then all the interior is new, so you're able to kind of balance that out a little bit.
Yeah, and I have it, the new build warranty for the first year, so everything's new. So you'd hope it will just run smooth for a few years.
Yeah, you never know on that,
I
right?
know.
But that's why you budget for it. So,
Exactly. Yeah.
and then for HOA, you have 150 a month.
Mhm.
And what does that cover?
It covers siding, roof, gutters, and then also just, exterior lawn maintenance and stuff like that.
Who owns the driveways?
I don't even know.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just curious like who owns that, if that's HOA or not.
I think it is HOA. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it is because I know there was one unit that I sold, not this complex, but a different one where the driveway had like a little bit of settling,
Mm,
and that was on the HOA. So
gotcha.
yeah.
Cool. So you're just responsible for inside.
Mhm.
So that's good.
Yes.
And then we have taxes and insurance, estimated about 1,200 a year for taxes. You're going to kind of get like a little bonus for the
Mhm.
first year before they reassess it.
Yes.
And then insurance about 1,300. We have just been seeing insurance rates just balloon this past year. So
Yep.
yeah, I think everyone, even existing landlords really need to be considerate of their insurance costs going up over the next year or two, because that's kind of what we're seeing across the board. So just kind of be on alert for that.
Yep.
Oh, all right, we'll go to the cash flow tab here. All right, so we have a kind of an ugly annual cash flow here, about negative 6,500 a year.
Mhm.
So, can you explain to everyone kind of your rationale behind that?
Yeah. So I think it just goes back to, these interest rates hopefully are not going to be forever. They change. And I also put, only 3.5% down.
Mhm.
So if I would have put 25% down, this would be a break even scenario.
Yeah.
I just think that having an asset in the Colorado Springs market is something that, you know, I've just always wanted. And I think it will pay off for me in the long run.
Yeah.
So these numbers, if I can get my interest rate down to in the fives, that pretty much will cut this number in half. And then I don't really mind that negative cash flow for the first, few years. It just doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
So,
You're essentially willing to pay $500 a month out of your own pocket to secure this asset for $10,000 down is kind of how I see it. And let's kind of go back real quick. So, like you said, if you put 25% down, that
mhm,
would be about $85,000 out of pocket. Again, that would bring you to break even.
mhm,
So the difference between 85 and we'll just say 18.
mhm.
Oh no, I'm doing math on air. This is probably not a good idea. So 85 and 18, that's $67,000
Yes.
divided by, we'll say 6,000, net loss each year.
Mhm.
It'll take you 11 years to make up the difference between what you're paying out of pocket and then what you would have put down in addition. So,
Yes.
in those 11 years, can
Yeah,
you better use your $67,000 elsewhere? Probably,
exactly.
right? Like,
Yes.
so that's kind of how I see that. And I do also want to caveat that you are a very good saver, and I would not recommend this strategy for people that aren't good savers and don't have good cash cushions and aren't,
Yes.
expecting things to go wrong. Like you're in a position where you're able to cover that.
Mhm.
So like you've
Exactly.
accounted for that.
Yeah.
So
I mean, if this was 3 years ago, this wouldn't even be an option for me,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
And I think that's amazing that like you've been able to kind of, calculate your financial positioning to be able to be like, yes, I can handle this. I can withstand,
Mhm.
any bumps in the road for that. So
Yeah.
yeah. And then just kind of, like you said, um, you wanted to hold this thing long term, like
Mhm.
yeah. So, just assuming super modest 3% increase in rents each year gets you
Mhm.
to like your 30 here when you're pretend you can't pay down your mortgage or refinance your mortgage,
Yeah.
So after you pay off your mortgage, I mean, yeah, this year 30 outlook is pretty nice.
Mhm.
You put $10,000 in 30 years ago, and now you're cash flowing $20,000 a year on it.
Yes.
That's pretty good return.
I mean, I'm super excited. We'll have to do an update when I'm moving out and just see like where the numbers are.
Oh yeah, I would love to do that to
Yeah.
see if because that's what's kind of tricky about like the nomad strategy is like you're not renting it in year zero, possibly one, two, depending on when you move out. So it's like you're kind of guesstimating where it's going to go in the future. We can
Mhm.
assume it's going to rise at a very modest rate, expenses and rent. So
Mhm.
yeah, I'd just be very curious to
Yeah.
see where things land.
Yeah, me too.
So
I'll
yeah,
let you know when that's happening.
please do. Well, I
Um,
think I think that this pretty much wraps up. Oh, we need to talk about this. It's a 5.8 cap.
right?
Yeah. So like, I know that the debt is a kind of a downer in this
Mhm.
property, but cap rates don't account for debt.
Mhm.
So this property on its own legs, debt withstanding, is a pretty good deal, especially for a new build in Colorado Springs. We don't really see that return too often. So
I
I just wanted
know.
to
Yeah.
highlight that.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I wasn't going to get a better deal doing the
Mm-mm.
nomad strategy. I was
No.
looking at single family homes, looking at, all sorts of different things. And I mean, there's just no way I would have found something brand new um, in town. So yeah, I am super satisfied with this. So
Good.
I
Good.
think, even though the numbers, this is probably like the worst deal analysis we've ever um, numbers wise, but I think it's important for, to have different outlooks and I'm able to pull it off. And so I'm super excited. Like I have no regrets.
I'm excited for you too because you've thought through all the downsides of this and
Mhm.
it works for you. So,
Yeah.
now you can just enjoy the upsides because you've already accounted for it mentally, the potential pitfalls on it. So,
Yes.
thank you so much for sharing this deal. I'm super happy for you. I think that this is going to be like a really good property for you. So, congratulations on it.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.